Let's get right into this. The Seoul Series, Dodgers and Padres. I'm sure we're going to see a whole lot of action between these two teams this upcoming season. To start the season off like this, having these two, I wouldn't say both of them are monsters. I think the Dodgers are more of the monster, but I think the Padres, listen, they lost Blake Snell. They lost Josh Hader. You traded Juan Soto, but outside of that, man, they have a little something still. I wouldn't rule them out completely. I mean, you still have Manny Machado. You still have Xander Bogaerts. You got Fernando Tatis Jr.
Also, you just traded for one of the best pitchers in baseball, if you didn't know. Like, AJ Preller just said, oh, we're getting on a plane to Korea. Bam, I'm going to make an earth-shattering trade that just sends baseball into like, oh my goodness, what is he doing?
That's exactly why I mentioned them playing spoiler, because last week it was a completely different vibe. I mean, we were hearing that the Yankees had re-engaged, their trade talks with the White Sox at the time for Dylan Cease, and then, like you said, here comes the Padres. Like, nah, I think we need him more than you guys do. Like I said, the Padres definitely still have something going on for themselves, and I like this pickup.
I'm not a fan of the 2-game series. I'm not a fan of it taking place in Seoul, South Korea. I'm not a fan of the season not starting in the United States. When you're having problems domestically getting ratings for your channels, your networks, your teams, whatever, we're going to play a series in Seoul, South Korea at 6 a.m. You telling me this is good for the game? That's why I said, if you read the question today, when I put the status up for the show, I asked, is the Seoul Series good for baseball? And to me, the answer is a flat out no. The answer is a no. And you could tell me, oh, that's not fair to say. And like, they're trying to grow the game. I get it. But how about we grow it domestically first? How about we grow it here instead of trying to grow it so it's played in South Korea, when the majority of the people who watch your product won't be up for these games because you have work. Now, I'll be watching the games because I'm crazy. I'll be up at 6 a.m. because I don't care.
Right.
But the majority of the people that you're catering towards, tell me how this is good.
Like, I get it, even though you are, of course, obviously still trying to cater to a younger demographic as well here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. I think this is a way for Major League Baseball to kind of like, this is like giving thanks to the other countries that love the sport. Like, I love the fact that they have games in the Dominican Republic. I like the fact that they go to Puerto Rico. I like the fact that, you understand what I'm saying? Well, so all these places are not where you're trying to grow the game at, I think this is a way for those people who live outside of the U.S. to still enjoy these games, whether it be a 2-game series, as you mentioned, because if it doesn't happen, you're literally only watching it just like this, which is through a screen.
Okay, so while I'm not mad at your premise, and I agree with your point, don't make it the opening series of the season and make these games count, is my point. If you're going to do it, make the series a little later on in the year. Don't do it where it's the first series of the weekend, the first series of the so-called regular season.
Right.
And you're putting the Dodgers and Padres at a disadvantage from everyone else. That's why it's not fair.
And then shouldn't this really be considered opening day?
When you're talking about the American consumer being 95% of your game or 95% of your audience, like going to Korea for 2 regular season games to start the season, that's a bad look. That's like the NBA starting opening night in South Africa a week before everybody else plays.
So let me ask you this. With this still, I know you talked about them counting the games, but with this still being considered spring training overall, right? Every other team hasn't actually played a game that counts towards their regular season record.
Right.
But would you rather it be a spring training game like, all right, you guys want to go out there and show some love? By all means, but don't let it be a game that counts.
Yes, because now, let's say, for instance, right? You know why Dylan Cease had to fly all the way to South Korea? Because let's say the Padres run the bullpen options and one of the games goes to extra innings. Guess what? He got a pitch. Bro, that's not good.
Right. And then the time difference too. Like I don't know what it is to be exact, but I'm sure it's pretty crazy.
It's nuts. And the fact that people gotta, like, if you want to watch these games, if you're a Padre Dodger fan, you gotta get up at 3 a.m, bro. When most people work the next day, because these games are on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Explain it to me.
Right.
Explain
no, I definitely get what you're saying, though, for sure. Especially when you, like you said, consider the timing and then what the teams have to do in terms of going out of their way, literally across the world, just to put on a performance for 2 days. I do get what you're saying.
It's terrible.
And then this early on in the season, it could be a little taxing on the body too.
Word. So I gotta fly all the way across the world, play 2 games, then fly back to play 3 more spring training games before
that mean nothing, even though I already played games that actually mean something. I get your point. It's a little weird how they have it structured. It is.